I was born in Brooklyn, New York City, right? Raised in Queens, New York. And I was in a rough community growing up. Left back in the third grade. So in the third grade, my mom and dad split. And I was kind of a little bit mad about that. And I took rage out on my teachers, my friends. And I realized over time, like, hey, this doesn't do anything for me. But what did it take for me to go from being that kid, right? Growing up as an at-risk youth, to being the first in my generation to start multiple businesses, graduate college, and speak all over the world. What did it take, right? I was resilient. I realized that the things that I went through in my past didn't determine where my future could be. It was actually up to me to make that choice. I look at you and I say, hey, these are the future leaders of the world. And I believe in that. And one thing you need to do is believe in that in yourself, right? That's important, right? How many of you feel like, hey, I can be important to this world? Raise your hands. That's good. Those who didn't raise their hands, I can promise you that you can. But it starts with you, right? Sometimes you do need a person to believe in you more than yourself. And that's what I needed at some point in my life. And I got that, and once I had that, I took it and I ran with it. So when I was younger, right, I remember a trip that my mom took me on. It was to a circus. And at that circus, there was all different type of animals, elephants, lions, we even had seals there, no work, that was weird. But yeah, so the elephant, there was a baby elephant in the corner, and it had this stake on it, right? And then that stake, there was a little rope. That rope was holding that elephant. And then I saw a big elephant just walking around, and I'm like, man, why did they have that little elephant on that stake onto the ground? Like, why is it just staying there, right? As it grows, they make the stake stronger. And that stake limits it from being able to pull it. So as the elephant gets an older age and a bigger size, as gigantic as it is, they use the same stake on the ground to tame it and to stop it. So the elephant's mindset is corrupted from the beginning, right? The elephant, everybody knows an elephant is strong, right? Like, it could really just break that stake and get through anything. But at a But at a young age, the elephant was taught that it couldn't, right? And only until it's in the wild or something and that theory's tested, then it realized, hey, that stake was little and on the ground, it's nothing. So what I want to talk to you is about, at a young age, I had the same type of mindset. I felt that because the neighborhood that I came from, the news, the people around me, the media, those things was telling me, hey, because you're from this place, you're not going to be able to be successful, right? So I realized, hey, you know what? If this says this about me, they must be right, right? And that wasn't the truth at all, because if I kept believing in that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I want you to test the theories that you hear as you keep growing up, as you get older. You know, some of you come from in the same neighborhoods as me, but your potential to grow, it's unstoppable. Like, you could be the next astronaut if you really focus. When I was in high school, right, in New York, I had this teacher who always would tell me, Antoine, focus, focus, focus. And I was like, why is she always raising her voice at me? So one thing is, I had the issue because my mom used to always raise her voice at me when I was younger for doing bad things. So the rage that I build up for that, anytime somebody screamed at me, I lash out. And I'd be like, stop screaming at me. When the real issue was, I didn't like dealing with that at home. And what happened eventually in life is that teacher, my mom came to school on parents and teacher conference, right? And I didn't want her to know about this teacher. I was trying to tell her, nope, class is over there, class is over there. And she found out the teacher was like, come here, to my mom. My mom got into that class and the teacher started crying. And I was like, what's she crying for? I didn't even do anything. And the teacher said, Antoine, I really care about you and I don't want you to end up like my son. And I'm like, well, I'm not your kid, so what are you talking about? And she said her kid lost his age at 16 by hanging with the wrong people and doing the wrong things, right? So for me, right, that's when I realized that there's people that really care about you and they're gonna point it out in ways that may look wrong to you, but they really care about you. And that's the first sign of somebody caring about you. So that's okay. Yeah. So it's really, if a teacher's pointing out to you, hey, stop talking, that means she cares about you. She wants you to stop talking. She wants you to get out of school. You think a teacher's job is to keep you here forever? Yeah, so one thing is, how do you change that situation? You don't give them a reason to yell anymore, right? You don't give them a reason to raise their voice to you. So this is how you test them, right? You know about space, and they test theories, right? So if a teacher's yelling at you all the time, you can say, what did she yell at me for? Running around, being a clown? Okay, let me see if I don't do this for the whole day, if she's still gonna yell at me, right? That's what you have to do. So one thing that I realized, right? Every choice that you make equals the chances that you have, right? So better choices means what? Better chances, right? So you have to make better choices. Everybody has to make better choices. If you make bad choices, the chances of you going through something bad is going to be high. If you make better choices, you're going to have better chances. You believe that? So say it to me. Better choices?
Equals
better what?
better decisions?
Yeah, chances.
Oh.
Write it down.